100,000 elite troops. 20,000 cavalry. Your enemy? 10,000 starving infantry who haven't slept in days. Direct assault? Easy victory, right? That's exactly what Persia's general thought 2,500 years ago. He charged. No ambush. No plan. Within hours, his entire army was wiped out. Asia's superpower was thrown out of Europe forever. This is the Battle of Plataea. One battle. One bad decision. The fate of a continent. 5,000 years of war. 5,000 full-force games. How many choices would you get right? Would you be the one left standing? This series covers every major war in history. Follow me. One episode will hook you. We have 4,969 left until the finale. Your likes and shares keep us going. After the Battle of Salamis, the Persian Emperor Xerxes fled, leaving his general Mardonius with a mess. How many troops? Herodotus says 300,000. Modern historians say 100,000 to 120,000, after removing non-fighters. Either way, 100,000 men and 20,000 horses in a foreign land is a logistics nightmare. Daily needs: 150 tons of food, 300 tons of fresh water. And Greece? 80% barren mountains. No supplies. The Persian supply line stretched across the Aegean, and the Greek navy now owned that sea. Mardonius wasn't stupid. He used gold, not just swords. He bribed city-states. Thebes defected. He even offered Athens money to rebuild if they surrendered. But for once, the Greeks united. 30 city-states, normally killing each other, formed an 80,000-man coalition, including 38,700 heavy infantry. The largest Greek army ever. Both sides faced off across the Asopus River. One battle would decide everything. 80,000 versus 100,000. A small river between them. 11 days of staring. No one moved. Why? Terrain. Persia's 20,000 elite cavalry needed flat plains to charge. The Greek commander, Pausanias, knew if he went down to the plain, his flanks would be torn apart. So the Greeks stayed on the mountain slopes and refused to come down. Both sides killed sheep daily for divination. Both priests gave the same reading: attack is death, defense is death. They waited for the other to blink. The weather broke the stalemate. August in Greece, nearly 40 degrees Celsius. 38,000 Greeks in bronze armor were baking alive. The human body loses nearly 2 liters of sweat per hour. Water became the only thing that mattered. Mardonius sent cavalry to destroy the Greeks' only water source. 80,000 men cut off. Morale collapsing. Pausanias ordered a night retreat to the city of Plataea, 12 kilometers away. But in ancient times, communication was shouting. Moving 80,000 men from 30 different factions in pitch darkness? Not a maneuver. A disaster. The middle contingents panicked and ran straight past the assembly point, all the way to Plataea's walls. The Athenians got lost on rough ground. And the Spartan right wing? A stubborn commander named Amaphoridas refused to retreat. He threw a stone at Pausanias' feet and roared, "Sparta does not retreat!" Pausanias argued all night. Only at dawn did the commander finally pull back. By then, the Greek army was shattered into 3 isolated pieces. At daybreak, Mardonius saw the empty enemy camp and the scattered Greeks in the distance. He was ecstatic. "They've collapsed! All troops, attack! Don't let them escape!" That order sent the Persian Empire into the abyss. 100,000 Persians poured across the river, straight at the retreating Spartans. The Persian main force caught the Spartans and their allies. Numbers: 5,000 Spartan regulars, the famous 300-plus citizen militia. 5,000 perioikoi, free infantry from nearby towns. 1,500 Tygian heavy infantry. And about 35,000 lightly armed helots, serfs, no bronze armor, mostly logistics and javelins. Total isolated force: about 46,000 men. But the real frontline fighters were only 11,500 heavy infantry. The Persian light infantry and archers, eager for glory, rushed across the river and crammed tens of thousands into a narrow killing zone. Their cavalry couldn't charge, too many of their own men in front. Arrows fell like rain. A Persian arrow weighs 30 grams. Against a 3mm bronze Spartan shield? Just a metallic clang. Not even a dent. The 11,500 heavy infantry didn't keep running. They turned, formed the phalanx in seconds, and stood their ground. The Persian cavalry chase became a head-on collision of light infantry against a bronze wall. The Persians, used to shooting and retreating, had friendly troops behind them. No room to fall back. They were forced into hand-to-hand combat against fully armored Spartans with long spears. After the arrow storm, Pausanias gave the order to charge. The phalanx advanced like a meat grinder. Thousands of men in 30-kilo armor, bronze counterweight spears, marching in unison. They shattered wicker shields, pierced linen armor, and kept moving forward. The Persians fought with desperate courage, grabbing spears with bare hands, breaking shafts, jumping into close combat. But courage cannot change the density of bronze. Mardonius led his 1,000 best heavy cavalry into the center, trying to win by beheading. He fell. Whether by a flying stone or a spear, no one knows. The general died. The army collapsed. Tens of thousands of Persians scrambled back across the river and were slaughtered in the water. Of the 100,000, only a few thousand escaped. The rest were annihilated. The Battle of Plataea was over. European civilization was saved on that blood-soaked plain. In that same year, far to the east, in the state of Lu, a 73-year-old man closed his eyes. His name, Kongqiu, Confucius. China was in the late spring and autumn period, kings fighting brutal wars. The East was about to enter the warring states, where battles would consume hundreds of thousands. Two civilizations went opposite ways. The Greeks, with bronze shields, defended their small city-state independence. The East marched toward a unified, centralized empire, a hyperscale order of human organization. Persia didn't collapse. It still ruled 1.36 million square kilometers. But its expansion into Europe died forever at Plataea. The Persians were gone. The Greeks' good times began. Athens, with ledgers in hand, smiled at the 200 Aegean city-states. The Persians will return. We need a joint defense alliance. Protection fees are only fair. Thus began history's first large-scale protection racket, the so-called defensive alliance. Behind the scenes, it turned an entire sea into a private ATM. When defense money became marble temples on the Acropolis, this ocean version of the money war was bound to end in politics. History is not dates, it's choices. One wrong decision, and an empire disappears. What would you have done? Comment below. Like this video if you want more battles from the 5,000-year chessboard. Subscribe and hit the bell. We still have 4,969 episodes to go. Share this with someone who loves history. And remember, in war, the general who thinks victory is easy is usually the first to fall. See you on the next battlefield.